Ja, guten Morgen. Today we're going to explore 19th Homage to Tade. So let's dig right in. So I'll just read the 4 lines of the quatrain to you right now. Homage to you, on whom the kings of gods, the gods themselves and all spirits rely. Your armor radiates joy to all. You soothe conflicts and nightmares as well. So, as we're getting to the end, towards the end of the 21 Homages to Tade, we begin tipping our big toe into the kiddie pool of redundancy. There's nothing wrong with that. I just don't want you to be shocked when you say, hey, I think I'm familiar with this concept. It's good. These are important concepts to explore. So let's continue. Let's explore the first 2 lines, because they're pretty much a set. The couplet reads as follows: Homage to you, in whom the kings of gods, the gods themselves, and all spirits rely. So basically, whether you're dealing with Judaism, Christianity, or Islam, or more of your shamanic traditions, or more of your Eastern traditions, you have the idea of gods. And, for instance, when you explore the first 3 I mentioned, they don't say there's no other gods. They're saying don't worship them. So, whether you believe in multiplicity of gods or not, or whether you rely upon or appreciate a multiplicity of gods or not, typically 9 times out of 10 people appreciate various and sundry gods because they want the fulfillment of various corporeal needs. So whether you're relying on a religion like Hinduism or shamanism or Taoism or Buddhism or Wicca or some such variation thereof, what's being inferred here is the idea of one-stop shopping. See, and this crept into Buddhism for a while too, the idea that you need a specific god for a specific need, and another god or another Buddha for another need, and there's 4 directional gods or 4 directional Buddhas, and if you're going that way, propitiate that Buddha, if you're going that way, propitiate that Buddha, and that's needlessly complex. And one of the things that's being inferred here is, guys, one-stop shopping. As Gyatso Rinpoche explained, one mantra, one Buddha, one practice, keep it simple, stupid. Okay, that last bit was me, but you know what I'm saying. Atisha, the same way. Keep it simple. Simplify your practice. All your needs will be met by performing the practice of one Buddha. Now, to put a more spiritual spin on it, according to traditional Orthodox Buddhist teachings, the Hindu gods rely upon the Buddhas. Well, yeah, that sounds a lot of like sectarian hoo-ha to me. But the fact is, most gods don't advertise enlightenment. They don't advertise spiritual things. They advertise corporeal things. And now, if you have corporeal needs, and we all do, you also have spiritual needs. And I'm not going to lie to you, having no shelter or no food or no clothing would suck, definitely. Those needs got to be met, but those aren't your only needs. You also have the need to feel loving and love for others, to feel joy, to feel peace, to feel resilience. These are important things. And when I say resilience, I'm talking about the ability to be aware of what's going on, but also let go of what's going on. So, one of the things that's inferred in this couplet is that we have corporeal needs, we have spiritual needs, we can get them met all through our relationship with Tade, which is great. And I want to talk about corporeal needs for a moment. There's nothing wrong with getting corporeal needs met. In fact, it can be profoundly useful to our practice of Dharma. Because let's face it, it's really tough to make the most of this precious human life that we have found ourselves in and accomplish the path. If we're going to die of some horrible disease because we're not able to support ourselves and eat right, or if we're going to die of exposure, that's just mashugana. So yes, our corporeal needs can affect our spiritual practice. Do what you can to get them met, but here's the thing, and there's nothing wrong with having desires for nice things. The question is, do you have the desires, or the desires have you? Can you set space to receive what you desire, set space to receive what you need, take action on that need or desire, and then let go of it? When I was just starting off with my Buddhist training in this life, that was a very difficult lesson for me to get. I was so used to being abandoned by authority figures. I was so used to not having my needs met. I was so used to being manipulative that I thought the only way to get a need met was to pester the deity of choice. You know, can I have a puppy? How about now? How about now? How about now? How about now? You know, and that's not the path to peace. Any mook can be a happy camper when everything's going his way. What separates the men from the boys is our ability to be happy and thrive when things do not go our way, when things go horribly, horribly wrong. That's what separates the men from the boys. So, is it good to get your needs met? Yes. But in order to have peace while trying to get your needs met, set space, take action, and let go. If you don't let go, no letting go, no peace. Let's move on. Your armor radiates joy to all. Now, when I think of armor, I'm not thinking about the tantric bone ornaments, which sounds marvelously filthy. What I'm thinking about is the Mahayana ornaments of the Sambhogakaya. There are 6 sets of ornaments. You have, my fingers will warm up here, okay. You have the crown, you have the triple necklace, you have the armlets, you have the bracelets, you have the earrings, which I almost forgot. I always forget the earrings. And you have the anklets. Now there's 3 of them. And any student of Buddhist iconography will tell you there are no coincidences. The 6 ornaments. What else reminds you of, what else comes to mind when you think about the number 6? The 6 perfections of the Bodhisattva. Giving, morality, patience, zeal, concentration, and wisdom of letting go. Looks like I'm doing gang signs, doesn't it? But I'm not cool enough to do that. So here's the deal. It's a tragedy that many people think of the 6 perfections of Bodhisattva as a heavy burden that they have to bear. That's a tragedy, because the 6 perfections of Bodhisattva actually are 6 means of generating bliss and joy and the good karma to get what we desire. And so that is of paramount importance. If your teacher is a fearmonger and he's chasing you with shoulds, find a teacher who doesn't. Find a teacher who teaches you that the 6 perfections of Bodhisattvas are opportunities to increase your joy and your peace and your fulfillment. But let's talk more about wish fulfillment, if I may. I'm not a big... people ask me, do I believe in this, do I believe in that? And I always... People ask me, do I believe in Allah, do I believe in Christ? And I say, I have no problem with Christ, no problem with Allah. I just don't believe in belief. Then their eyes glaze over, their jaws go slack, and they promptly download in their pants. So I don't believe in belief. I like the idea of knowing what you want, knowing what you need, setting space for it to happen, taking action for it to happen, and then letting go. And that's crucial. A lot of people who are in belief, they fall into the trap of rigidity, and it's like, this must happen. If I have the faith the size of a mustard seed, I could say unto this mountain, be thrown into the sea, and it will be thrown into the sea. How many times has that happened in the last 2,000 years? How many times have mountains been thrown into the ocean, the sea, or heck, I'll settle for a lake? How many times has that happened? Guys, just because it's in the Bible doesn't mean Christ said it. We both know that the victors write the histories. And political victors influence all the texts, secular and religious. It's just a fact. Look at the history of the Catholic Church. Bless their hearts, and you'll see a radical shift once the Roman emperors got involved in participating in Catholicism. Huge shift. So people tend to be political, and just because something's written in an ancient scripture, be it Jewish or Christian or Islamic or Hindu or Buddhist or Taoist or Sikh or Jain, just because it's written down doesn't make it true. I once saw a sign that said, healthy donuts. Hey, just because it's on a sign doesn't make it true. Oh, sure, call me provincial. I just don't feel taking, white, bleached, enriched flour, mixing it with sugar and then marinating it in boiling oil is healthy. But it was written in a sign, so it must be true. So, where's this rant taking us? There's this myth that, and the fundamentalists of all religions teach us that belief is the shortcut to attainment, but it actually isn't. It actually is a dead end. There are things that will get you where you need to go. Entertaining possibility, taking action, mental training, heart training, like my hand up here, mental training, possibility, entertaining, knowing what you desire, knowing what you want, exploring possibility, taking action, training the heart, training the mind. These things are great. They influence our karma, they influence our experience, they influence the probability of getting what we desire. Belief will not. Belief seeks to be a shortcut, but it doesn't work because the price of belief is rigidity and intolerance and aggression. And if you could see what's going on etherically, that type of rigidity is harmful. People say, Lama Jigme, why are you so foul-mouthed? And the answer is because it's spontaneous and it's authentic. And the price of being rigid, choosing your words far too carefully, is that it constricts the spiritual heart, it constricts the mind, and excludes the possibility of spontaneity. We need spontaneity for it to be led either by the Spirit or by the Buddha nature or by the deity to whom we oracle for. We need to be spontaneous. And the question is, but that might piss some people off. And the answer is, yes, it will. But guess what? Pissing people off is an inevitability. Now, I'm not talking about being a dick. I'm not talking about being a jerk. I'm not talking about being cruel, or mean or something like that. But being authentic is important. I remember one of the mistakes I made as a Lama is that I become very sentimental towards my students. And I could see, some students had an armful of troubles, and I would try to coddle them too much. And for fear that, if I was firm with them, if I confronted them, even mirthfully, they'd run off. But the fact is, they run off anyway. Not all students, but certain students who are just, not ready yet. And it took me a long time to really see that if someone's going to forsake you, let them forsake you for a good reason. If someone's going to hate you, let them hate you for who you really are. Because if someone's going to leave you as a student or as a friend or as a lover, often they leave you for a precognitive reason, an intuitive reason they really can't put their finger on, and then they just give a lame excuse why they're leaving. And that lame excuse, that goes a long way to character assassination, but it doesn't really help them grow. If they leave you because you've gently and wisely confronted them on something that needs thinking about, and they leave you for that, at least they'll think about it for weeks and months, and maybe even years, until they actually start working on that issue. So back to belief. There is a saying, or at least there was a saying in the fundamentalist Pentecostal community: if you can name it, you can claim it. But that doesn't leave a lot of room for, God knowing better than you. Now let's enter the Buddhist realm. What's the first noble truth? Suffering. Suffering can be very subtle. Simply not getting what we want when we want it. Simply not keeping what we like for as long as we like to. Simply enduring that which we don't like. The pervasive nature of subtle suffering infers that we are not always going to get what we want when we want it. That is not a spiritual indictment. Our ability to manifest does not make us great Buddhas or Bodhisattvas or Arhats. It just shows us how effective we are at spending our karma at certain times. That's all. That's all. So if you're unable to manifest what you want when you want it, it doesn't necessarily mean you're a spiritual failure. Don't get me wrong. Many years ago, I dated the minister of a New Thought church, and she and all her minions thought otherwise. But I found that the people who embrace that manifestation mentality most aggressively hit a dead end. Because even in the metaphysical community, even in the New Thought community, there are fundamentalists. There are fundamentalists in every sect of every spiritual discipline. Now let's explore the fourth line. You soothe conflicts and nightmares as well. There's always going to be conflicts. Either political, external political conflicts, external interpersonal conflicts, or internal conflicts. So it doesn't say they're eliminated, but they're soothed. It's kind of like friction. Ask a physicist. There's always friction, but it can be managed, through lubrication, oil, graphite, sealed bearings, stuff like that. There's always going to be conflicts, and there's a myth. If you ever do any relationship counseling, or if you've ever been in a relationship, or if you've ever had a friend bitch and piss and moan about their relationship, there's a myth. Maybe you've heard it. It's not supposed to be that hard. Oh, woozy woozy. No. There's always going to be a challenge. If you have a pet, there's always going to be a conflict between you and the doggy, or you and the kitty, or you and the turtle, for God's sakes. If you have a relationship with a bipedal adult, there's always going to be some conflict. There's always going to be a challenge. But that challenge can be soothed with the judicial application of love and compassion and wisdom and humility and blessings. You'll know, if you're one of my students and you're participating in the weekly, the one-year course of weekly webinars, then you'll know at a certain point you will have turned a corner in your training. At a certain point you'll get so comfortable with invoking Chenrezig or Grain Tata or the 6-syllable mantra, the 10-syllable mantra, then when you wake up, instead of screaming for your mommy, you'll actually be screaming, may all beings benefit, may all beings benefit, may all beings benefit, which can slow down to may all beings benefit, which is the the essence of love and compassion. Or you might wake up, chanting, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, or Om Tadi Tadai Duresuwa, or something. How cool is that when our spiritual training turns the corner and we get to the point where we the act of relying upon a Buddha becomes so habitual, we can do it in the midst of a nightmare. Last night, I finally got to see Prometheus, which as far as sci-fi movies just was a banquet of neat ideas. This is what I call lowbrow sci-fi, like the Transformers, and highbrow sci-fi that really makes you think. It makes you think about science, technology, philosophy, sociology, psychology, economics, everything. It just makes you think. And some people have the relationship with their mind that Homer Simpson has with his brain. Okay, brain, you don't mess with me, I don't mess with you. How's that sound? Other people, they were like Woody Allen, who said in one of his movies, my brain, oh, I love my brain. It's my second favorite organ. Of course, my delivery was more like, what's his face from the Geico commercials than Woody Allen. Gilbert Gottfried, yes. That was the Gilbert Gottfried version. But you get the basic idea. So last night, finally went to see Prometheus. And I'm not going to lie to you, I'm a pussy. I got scared. Vicariously scared for the characters in the movies. And so what I started doing was I started meditating. And not as a way to escape that which was scary, but as a way to cope with that which is scary. So at one point, when the characters were in obvious peril, I started meditating on compassionately taking away their danger and giving them safety. And, as I was experiencing fear vicariously, I meditated on taking away everyone else's fear and giving everyone peace. And then, of course, at different scenes, was just it was just a smorgasbord of horrors. I would do the basic awareness, the Mahamudra of awareness and letting go that I teach in the very first lesson, which is essentialized as, what feeling, letting go, maybe do that 3 times, what hearing, letting go, and you hear all kinds of interesting things in a scary sci-fi movie. What seeing, letting go, and eventually that essentialized down to this, free. And so once again, that meditation wasn't designed to escape the yuck and the gurk and the fear, but to use it as spiritual jet fuel, as it were. And so green toddy soothes our nightmares. She doesn't get rid of them. We still have nightmares. We have nightmares metaphorically in our circumstances. We have sometimes a nightmare internally with our emotions. Sometimes we actually have nightmares. Sometimes we pay good money to go to the theater and watch someone else's nightmare in Technicolor. But the thing is, if you can hold Green Toddy's hand and apply her teachings, the teachings of the Lam Rim, the teachings of the Chokchen, the teachings of the Sutra, the teachings of the Tantra, in a skillful way, then it will enrich your experience. And if you're looking for a feel-good cop buddy movie, don't go see Prometheus. If you're looking for a really interesting sci-fi movie that's also exciting and has moments of humor, but really makes you think, then go see it. I think you'll enjoy it. I'm a big Ridley Scott fan. I'm making my thumb up there. There you go. That's Ridley. So now you have the quatrain processed, chewed, and sped out for your enjoyment. I'm going to chant it for you using the bookend chant. Homage to you on whom the kings of gods, the gods themselves and all spirits rely. Your armor radiates joy to all. You soothe conflicts and nightmares as well. There you go. I want to remind you, if you haven't already, to hit the subscribe button and to click the like button, and then consequently the buttons that will allow you to share on social media, which is really, really cool. And by the way, I'm thinking the nice thing about seeing a movie after it's been released for 4 weeks or 6 weeks is that already the sci-fi mailing lists have made fun of the various characters. I'm not going to give anything away. There was one character in the movie who just had no common sense. And he's in this alien environment touching everything. It's like, dude, are you trying to die? And you could say, you could look at that and say, well, you know, he had a childlike curiosity, and that's really good. He wasn't a prisoner of fear, and that's really good. But he was lacking the old wisdom. And one of the things I love about Tade is, yes, she'll help you have more courage, but she'll also help you have more wisdom. So, may you and yours be healthy and happy. And of course, in the name of wisdom, I invite you to use one of the links below to register for the next series of weekly webinars so we can increase your wisdom and your joie de vivre, and of course your childlike curiosity. May you and yours be healthy and happy. Om Tade Tu Tade Tori Soha.